Alright guys, we're back with setting up our Pro Tools template for rap. There's just a few more things we gotta go over, and it's really just about latency, setting your tempo. I think that's something you need to know how to do. So when you import your template, before you start recording, you get the tempo set because that's going to help you with your delay plugins, gain those in tempo and not screwing up you or another artist when they're recording. I just want to go over really quick because I forgot to do it in the last video is solo safe your auxes. So you see how these are kind of grayed out. In the last video it looked like this. Just hold down Control on PC. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is on Mac, but you'll figure it out. Control click it and now solo safe it. And that means say you have, you have vocals on track audio 2 and you have a delay going and you want to go and solo that vocal. You want to get, you need to solo it. But at the same time, if you solo it without solo safe enabled on the aux track, that delay sound will be cut off. You will not hear it because it's not soloed. So you would hear it in this setup. Okay? So just something I want to go over real quick. So I want to go over latency because another issue is when you record, if you have a lot of plugins going that induce a lot of latency, you're going to get an actual delay between the system and you. You're going to record and it's going to come back. It's going to go through Pro Tools and come back and hit you in the headphones, and it's going to be delayed and it's going to throw you off. There's a quick way to find out how much latency a plugin gives off. And then I'll show you the difference between my tracking plugins versus my mixing plugins, because I switch out a lot of them because my tracking plugins are low latency. But I like to track with plugins on. It lets the artist hear how they're going to sound somewhat when they're mixed. It just makes them a bit more confident, especially when it's when they hear something totally unmixed, people can say, oh shit, I sound bad. And that might be the case. They might just suck. But sometimes it's just because it's not mixed. You're not used to hearing a non-mixed vocal. Okay? I'm going to show you. I'm just going to set up real quick what I do on my tracking, and then I'll show you my mixing. And then I'll show you how we can look at how much latency it gives off. Alright, so here's the two different vocal chains, one for the tracking, which is audio 2, and one for my mixing, which is audio 3. And you can see the majority of plugins are different, and there's a lot more on my mixing chain. Just real quick, just to see the delay compensation, this is just an indicator of how much latency there actually is going on, is if you hold down Control and click onto the volume node window, whatever, it's going to show you delay. This is the delay compensation. So one sample, I believe, is, I'm not sure. I'm not a Pro Tools expert. All I know is you want to keep it low. And you can see on my mixing, I'm 2822. Yes, I have more plugins, but that's still crazy. A lot of it comes from like auto-tune, which you can put in low latency mode. If you have in low latency mode, it still adds about 100 points in latency. So it's still there some. So you can see on here though, waves real time, that this is what the pitch correction I use during tracking. Pro Q2 is very low on the latency, and I just give a bit of a shelf. And then I use my SSL channel because I can do a lot within it. I can compress, which I like to do. That's a main thing I like to do in here. And then I'll EQ a bit, their vocals. And then we also need to set up our delay and reverb. So for recording and for mixing, I use this delay, and I use the Ravvox preset. I just really like it, and I take analog off because it's the devil. On tracking for my reverb, I use, where is it? Valhalla. Because look at this, Valhalla, no delay whatsoever. H delay, oh, it's no delay. So these two on while tracking is going to be fine. You're not going to get that, like I said, that delay going on. When I want to go to mixing, I change up my reverb to low plate. It's going to be 32 latency. So that's not that bad, You could get away with having that on. But you just got to remember, that's not the, you got to add all this stuff up. One way to get around that is, make stuff inactive. That's going to totally take it out of the loop. There will be no delay. Now, you can't say, well, I'm just going to bypass. I'm just control clicking. That's another key command for quick bypassing. Boom, it's bypassed. I'm just going to bypass these. That should help with the latency. No, because it's still there. It's still active, I guess. And it still gives off latency. So now that you have your plugins figured out that you want to have on during tracking, we're going to make this part of the template. So we're just going to copy these over to every track. And if you even want, like I said, you can have a starting point. I always keep my low cut around here because when you load in, it's going to load in all those settings that you've already had. It's not going to load up at default. It'll load in the settings also. So you can set your compressor to a 4.1 ratio right off the bat. You won't have to deal with it. And now remember, with Pro Tools, when you're recording with plugins on, it's not recording that effect to the channel. Analog is not being recorded. It's not coming down. Let's just flip over to the other screen. Your signal is not coming down through here and here, and then being recorded on the record enabled track. It is passing this stuff. All the inserts and the sends, it's passing it, and it's going right down to the track and being recorded. Then it's being affected by the plugins. So don't think that, well, my guy, he's peaking a lot, he's clipping a lot on the way in, so I'm going to set the compressor and compress him so he won't clip. He'll be compressed on the way in. It doesn't work like that. Now, you could make an aux track, make a mono aux track. Take your audio track that he's recording to, but bus it to the aux track, and then bus that to another audio track that's record enabled with a compressor on the aux track, and it will go through that compressor. I never use that. I'm not sure if you want to. I think it's going to give off. I think there's going to be too many issues with stability and latency, but you could try it. Now, another thing to do with latency is our Playback Engine. So there's a buffer size, right? And unfortunately, mine only has one buffer size located within the system. What you want to keep in mind is when you're recording, you want a lower buffer size, and when you are mixing, you want a higher buffer size. Now, I can change mine. It's just I can't change it within Pro Tools. I have to go to my Sapphire Mix Control, and then here I can change my buffer size. I keep it around 512 because that seems to work. I really don't have issues with it. I could make it lower, but it's about a give and take. You know, I want it low, but I want stability. Just enough stability that when I'm recording, the computer's not freaking out and stuff like that. You'll get errors and stuff about processing. Then we'll just go over how to set our tempo. Like I said, we need to set a tempo for our delay. A real easy way to do that is you deselect your conductor track, because if he's enabled, he kind of takes control of the session, and we want to control it. And then what you do is you hit play because you want to hear the beat. You highlight the tempo, then you start tapping T to the beat. Once you have your tempo, press enter, and boom, it's going to lock it all to that tempo. And that's it. You don't touch this at all. You know, we're going to save this now. Save as template, and we're just going to update Tempe 2020. And we're just going to replace it. So Tempe's updated, and we're kicking ass. Now we're ready to record. No latency issues. You got a little bit of reverb going for the vocals, a little bit of a delay, you know, for the vocals, and that's about it. I don't think there's anything else we're going to go over in this video. I'm going to have another video about just some good practices for recording, just but pre-roll for punching in, you know, a few key commands just to speed you along, and that's it. But that's everything I had in mind for this video. If you need me for mixing or mastering, hit me up on my Fiverr page, fiverr.com/JakeH111. If you need to get a hold of me, you could message me through Instagram. You can message me through the website. You can message me on Twitter. You could jump on Discord. You can't message me on Facebook because I don't run the Facebook page. And you can email me. So please stay in touch. You can message me on Fiverr. Whatever. It is what it is. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Louis backpack, gotta get the racks back. Louis backpack, gotta get the racks back. Fendi neck bag, guess I got my flex back. Girl, I ain't tryna talk and tryna chit chat. Bring that right back, bring that shit right back. She know she like that, she can never go back. Designer mismatch, diamonds on me drip max. Keep all the racks all in a Louis bag. Keep it all 100, man, never change. All things holler, but they never change. I ain't tryna cuff, can't go that way. Only way I go is the money way. Two-stepping with the click. All these niggas slipping when they be tryna drip. Stay low key, can't see me with a 10. Mask on, can't see me when I'm hitting licks. Same nigga, yeah, go figure. Say I'm getting bigger, but I'm still that nigga. Same nigga, still toe triggers. I ain't never changed, man, I'm still that nigga. Cruising in the bands, cruising in my ends. Middle finger, man, to the feds. They can't play me, they be moving shady. Gotta keep a tool like niggas keep their jewels. Louis backpack, gotta get the racks back. Bring that right back, bring that shit right back. Fendi neck bag, guess I got my flex back. Girl, I ain't tryna talk, you tryna chit. Louis backpack, gotta get the racks back. Louis backpack, gotta get the racks back. Fendi neck bag, guess I got my flex back. Girl, I ain't tryna talk, ain't tryna chit chat. Bring that right back, bring that shit right back. She know she